Hey guys, welcome into the podcast here. It's your host, Andrew D. Ochs here. I'm here with a very special guest today, Joseph Robert Collins, a soon-to-be filmmaker, hopefully, and a co-student of mine at the University of Wisconsin-Waukesha. Joe, how's it going tonight?
Well, it's going well, Andrew. How about yourself?
Not bad, man, not bad. Want to start off by just getting it out of the way that we finally got done with our speech class. This was the last day today with these final speeches.
Yep. Oof. And on this last day, both of us did our speeches. How fitting is that on the last day of class, we do our final speeches?
Yeah, I mean, just to start out, just to kind of recap, how I felt like mine went. I felt like, it started out well, and you really can't prepare yourself too well for going up there in front of the class. By the time you go up there, you never know how it's really going to be up there. So
Push comes to shove.
Yep, exactly. But how do you feel like yours went? And were you surprised with the grade that you got? What was the grade that you got again?
I got a B. I got a B plus on it, but it said grade deduction B. So for the class, overall I got a B. And how I feel about it? Well, I feel that I'm honestly surprised that I got such a grade, and I'm honestly surprised that I got such a grade as a B, because but then again, the first half of it, I did it unscripted, and
Right.
But then after a certain time, I started to stumble and go off the trail, but I managed to pick myself back up from the trail.
So, was this class overall, was this pretty much what you were what you thought it was going to be coming in, or how was it different from what you might have thought it was going to be coming into the start of the semester?
Well, it was everything that I expected it to be, because in 11th grade I took a communications class, and that's pretty much all we did was do speeches. Except we did more, I believe, because, that was high school and this is college.
Yeah, I still can't believe that we actually had, 3 or 4 dropouts there. It started with 23 or 24 people or somewhere around there, and we lost, Adriana 17. We lost we lost Celiac at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost Emily, and then we lost whoever that was in the back there, who I thought was actually a really good speaker. But I think if I'm thinking about who overall had the best speeches 1 through 4, the first one was the one about us, and the second one being, the one about our own topic, and the second one being the one that was chosen for us, third one with the group, and this last one, I think I'd probably have to go with the best overall speaker was probably, I know you hate to hear this, but Colton.
Like fucking clockwork.
As you aren't a big fan, but I think if you just look at the grades, I think the grades reflect that. And who do you think, though, was the best speaker overall, that grades included?
Oh, well, I don't know about grades, but I feel this should come as no surprise to you, but Mark Liberto. But aside from the whole Tetris thing, yeah, he definitely has that TED Talks vibe, because immediately when I first saw his first speech, the parkour one, he just got up there, and it just seemed like I was watching a TED Talks video from the TED stage or whatever they call it, and he just started flailing his arms around and then moving and talking to the audience. Really professional.
Now this is your first year in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
At UW-Waukesha, obviously, I know that. But what are your plans moving past this next semester? You've got one more semester at UW-Waukesha still, where you'll be in some classes with me. But after you go through that, assuming that you pass your classes and get good grades, what are your plans moving on forward from there? Are you going to a film school, or are you looking at a school in state? Are you looking out of state? Because as you are well aware, it's New York or LA for film, usually. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, well, I just want to finish up all my prerequisites at
Gen Eds,
Gen Eds at UW Waukesha. But with film schools, I would like to go to one that is out of state because I feel like you've said that like that's how you really get your foot in the door or out the door or whatever.
Do you have a specific school in mind, or do you have any idea of where exactly you might want to go if it were to be out of state? You looked at any kind of schools yet, or
Maybe
is that
like
kind of too far out into the future still for you, or?
well, it is kind of far out, but I've done my looking and maybe Berkeley. That sounds like a good school.
That is actually the same place where Troy Bolton went in High School Musical, actually.
Really?
Allowed him to play basketball and act and perform on stage. So, no, but that is a good school. It's very expensive, though, out there.
Elaine Robinson went there. A little
Who?
graduate reference.
Oh, yeah, sure. Moving forward, though, through that now, getting away from school, obviously, you are now in a relationship, correct?
Correct.
With Jenny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jenny Dudek. Shout
Yeah.
out Jenny Dudek. And how long have you guys been dating, and how did you guys meet? Was it over, Tinder?
Well, we've been dating since October the 8th. I'm being, I think like that's how Barrett says it. Yeah, and we did meet over Tinder, and yeah, and like honestly, at the time I met her, I was like talking to another girl, which didn't really like go well. After that one date, it was nice meeting you. I'm not usually a talker.
So who then? I guess who messaged who first
I
on
think
Tinder? Did you message her first? Would you hit up the DMs first, or?
I think it was me who hit her up first, because whenever I would get a match on Tinder, I'd usually be the one to message the girl, because I was so desperate for the V.
Speaking of that, did you know? Actually, I learned this yesterday or the day before. Actually, have you heard of Bumble?
Yes, I have. I was actually contemplating getting that during the Tinder days.
Yeah, Bumble actually apparently so how it works is it's kind of like Tinder where you can't message if you don't match, but when you do match, only the guy can text them.
Really?
Or only the girl. It's one or the other. Either only the girl or only the guy can message. You can't. It's one or the other where one of the other gender can't text the other one.
Wow.
Or the same one if you're into that kind of thing.
Not really.
Either way, though, but I just thought that was kind of weird, because then I'm thinking why would you do Bumble instead of Tinder when it's you can't?
Because Tinder's known for hookups.
Well, yeah, but Bumble is kind of the same thing. But going
Tinder's
back to your
more known.
relationship with Jenny, though, obviously before Jenny, you were dating Amanda Sanders.
Amanda Nelson. Sanders.
But she was kind of like a rocket, right? You never knew what you were going to get from her, and she was kind of, personality-wise, one day she was up, one day down, or did it just get, over time, did the relationship just kind of, go south, or?
I think it had it, okay, I have been thinking about this sometimes, but it had I definitely could see a sign from the beginning, even I think before she asked me out, just on Snapchat, so she seemed kind of dry, if you will, and but I feel since I have anxiety, I just think that maybe I'm overthinking it and stuff, and so I decided to give it a shot, and actually I was doing a little comparison because I came across her old messages, and I see that she was really different in during the first days of our relationship, and then in the end, that's when it became predictable, because at the end of a conversation, it always results in "I love you," that's what I could not stand, and her and that one day the nail in the coffin was when I finally introduced her to my parents. I mean, my dad and his fiance, and the plan was to meet up with them at the St. Matthias Festival that day, and and I have always had fond memories of festivals. I always love going to them, even if I don't go on rides. I always have a nice time there. But when I took Amanda, it was different. I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was me or her, because Usually I'm with, say, my sisters or my sister's fiance, and like they make things a lot of fun, or it was because like she was just so boring, and like,
Now, was that when you kind of realized for sure that the relationship wasn't gonna be what you thought it was gonna be, or?
oh yeah, especially when we saw her grandpa sitting at a table, like, and she introduced me, and after that, didn't hear a peep out of them, both of them. I'm just sitting there because my phone battery's dead, but like they're both on their phones. I'm just like, oh my god, get me out of here! Like I can't
Now,
stand these people.
right now, one thing I want to get to is going back to away from the girlfriend thing, and kind of in a different way it relates though. Like when you think about high school and you compare it to college, and you think about the different things that high school brings and the different things that you experience in college and all of that, what's the biggest difference you see in the two between high school at McGuanago High, college at UW Waukesha so far? There's a lot of similarities. Obviously, they're both smaller buildings, no dorms, and all of that.
Sadly.
But when you think about something that's a lot different from what we saw and experienced in McGuanago, what's something that sticks out for you?
Well, like a major difference is that there's not really any like cliques at UW Waukesha. I mean, we do have clubs, but like you don't see like at the lunch table like people sitting together in like groups and stuff. And also, like obvious one is that like at high school, all the classes were every day, like 5 days a week, whereas at college they're like certain days a week.
Now, speaking of the club thing, you obviously helped form the film club
Uh-huh.
at
That was a
UW
dream.
Waukesha in the start of the year. Had high hopes for it, didn't go as planned. What happened with that?
Okay,
And why
well,
didn't it work out?
let's see. It started to have potential because we were just like shooting the breeze here. We were saying, oh, we could have like our own month dedicated to bad movies. We can have our own movie nights, go on like our own like we can all go to like movie theater and see a movie. We can like we were even like doing these like this little podcast thing. And when I brought up this script that I wrote called Kung Fu Skeleton, Bert or Brett, as his actual name is, like he like loved it and immediately wanted to work on it, and we were going so far with it. We got a person who actually knew Kung Fu. We were doing reads of the script. We were casting people, and a guy who's not really part of the club anymore, David, as he's moving to another state. He went out and bought a better looking skeleton to be used in the movie, and it just kind of just like fell apart just suddenly.
So that's kind of like something that you see a lot in college, like kind of things like the potential for starting new things and things that could be um, interesting, clubs and all of that. I think that's the coolest part about college actually, is that you can form clubs out of nowhere, like the parkour club, the film club, and all of that. I could have started a broadcasting club if I wanted to, if I got enough people, but the hardest part obviously is getting everybody on the same page, and like what you said with what happened with you, is it sounds like everybody had their own idea of exactly what was going to happen in that film club, and at the very end of it, when people stopped showing up, that was ultimately the end of it. Because you told me earlier, just not that long ago, you hadn't heard anything about it today, right? Nobody even mentioned it
Yeah.
today, so
And yeah, Brett is he's like said how he procrastinates when it comes to like posting videos and stuff, and I feel like it played a part in this. Not to throw him under the bus or anything.
yeah, no, I mean, and that's the good thing about college as well, is I would say, is you definitely meet more people. I've met more people in the last, I'd say, 4 months of my life than I had in the 4 years of high school that I could get along with.
Like Jake Harris.
Unfortunately, though, yeah, like Jake Harris. Unfortunately, you only see those guys for one semester most of the time. But I think that's huge, though. So, as we mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, just the introduction to this. Now, I mentioned how you want to go into film. You talked about how you're not yet ready to go to the 4-year school or wherever it's going to be, the film school. But what exactly piqued your interest in the art of filmmaking? Was it as a kid? When did that start? And what about filmmaking exactly piques your interest, and why is that something you wanted to go into as a career?
Well, let's get it out of the way and just want to explain that film is a real like it's part of the arts, and I support the arts so much because like it's an expressionism or whatever the word is. It's like you can express yourself through the arts, and like I really am in support of that. So any of you want to cut the arts? Well, I'm not in support of you. But anyways, what started my interest was it just kind of came kind of naturally. I mean, like in my day, I feel like I sound like an old person there.
Yeah, in our day, like as if we're old, but
yeah, in my day, like the thing was, you can be famous, you can be on TV. I want to be on TV. I want to be famous. Like everybody had that like pipe dream when they were a kid, but like eventually they all like grew out of it and found like their real motive careers. But yeah, I was one that I never really grew out of it. I like really I just had this passion to make movies.
now you're somebody that likes like the 70s, 80s movies, right? Like that's where you go towards. Is that a coincidence now? Because I know a lot of people will point at that and say he doesn't like things from the current years, from the last decade of movies. That's something that I hear a lot about you and a lot of people that like older movies, and some of the older movies are good, but if somebody asked you to name your top 5 movies made since the year 2010, could you give me 5 movies that you like since 2010?
I probably could at the bare minimum 5. Let's see, Chronicle, Get Out, The Founder. What other movies did I see? Creed was good, and Finding Dory.
Creed was good, and Finding Dory. Finding Dory, actually, we're watching Finding Nemo right now while we're recording this podcast. Creed 2 actually is out in theaters right now. Go see it. Go get your tickets. $5 on Tuesday, $8 on a Thursday if you're a student. But no, continuing on to that, I think that anytime you go into the field of media, it's a risky venture. Same thing with me, wanting to go into my career field of sports broadcasting. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but I think, would you agree that it really is passion over, like, guarantee, honestly? Like, it's more about how bad you want it than it is about, honestly, how good you are.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. Because like you're taking a really big risk by wanting to go out and like into Hollywood, and hell, like you could not even make it, but it's that passion that really thrives and really is your motivation, and like is what keeps you going and gets you out there and just keeps you staying alive.
So about that, about the passion and everything, you're obviously a big music guy. Last I checked, you're still into the records. This guy actually listens to records, which is rare. Nothing wrong with it. It's rare to see nowadays. Is that something that your dad instilled in you from a young age as a kid? Was he listening to records growing up, or how did you become so into the record stage? Because when I was growing up, it was CDs, it was Usher, it was Toby Keith, actually, honestly, on the airplane rides and everything, but it was a CD player, and I think I kind of just grew up with all of that stuff. But you still, to this day, kind of like my uncle, are really into the record players, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm into them too, but where did that come from? Is that kind of the similar thing from where you got the filmmaking love for, or?
No, I think my dad actually had like records when he was my age, but like when I was born, those were like long gone. We didn't even have a record player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say I never saw a record player until I was about 10 years old.
Interesting. Well, what I think it's just purely by coincidence why like I have records, because well, I remember the first record I ever got was See, I'm friends with this guy who was in an old New Jersey band called English Eyes. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he like when I reached out to him because like I wanted to hear their music, which like only 3 songs were like available online, and I wanted to hear the rest of them. So I reached out to him, and he was honestly thrilled that that somebody who wasn't from New Jersey actually liked the band. And so, like, as like a little gratitude or of appreciation, whatever token of appreciation, he like sent me this package which contained a single, 2 copies of the single. One of them was autographed, by the way, with a photo of the band and a little pin button thing of the band, and yeah, it was a record. So it was a song that like was not like part of the songs that he sent me. So like the solution was I have to get a record player and listen to this and record it and like transfer it to digital file. So that took me a long time, and when I finally did, I guess it was all uphill from there. And it is purely by coincidence because it just seems like any thing that I'm interested in with music, it just happens like some things are like on vinyl only. Like if something is on CD, like I actually will prefer CD because it's like more digital and you don't, as much as I love the vinyl sound, you don't hear the cracks and pops and stuff. So it's yeah, purely by coincidence.
That's interesting. 2 more questions for you, then we'll get this wrapped up. Thanks for coming on the podcast. So first one being, out of the 3 different installments now of the recent Spider-Man franchise, obviously starting with the trilogy that happened way back, starting in, what was the first one? 2002. With Tobey Maguire. Then you got the Amazing Spider-Man series that came out with 2 of them, I believe. First one being, 2012 and 2014. And then obviously this latest one that's going to be, I think, another trilogy with
Tom Holland.
With Tom Holland, who's one of my personal favorites. What is the best? Which one is the best? What do you prefer, and why?
Oh well, I haven't seen all of the not Tobey Maguire, what's his face, Andrew Garfield movies, and I saw like half of Homecoming in the theater with you, so I didn't see the rest of it. But I will say like I do prefer the Tobey Maguire ones because, well, like for a few reasons. Number one, because It reminds me of a different time when superhero movies were like, were rare and you didn't expect them. Like you don't, like nowadays you're hearing, oh, they're making a Venom movie, they're gonna make a Gambit movie.
Avengers 4 coming out, I think in April or May, right? I think it's April or May.
Yeah, I think it's
Isn't
May.
it? Avengers 4? That'll be a good one. I'm excited for that. That's gonna be super good. I hear it's gonna be very long. It's going to be Tony Stark's final movie. I think it's also going to be Nightwing or whatever his name is, his final movie. A couple of them, Captain America, is no longer in there. But, okay, and last question for you. All right. You've got one chance to say one thing to somebody you've always wanted to say. Who would it be to, and what would you tell them?
What do you mean? Specify.
Specifically speaking, like, let's just say you've gone through life, whatever, you've done everything. At the very end of your life, you're sitting there, you've got one thing you got to say to one person that you maybe didn't get to say or something you regret up to this point. What are you telling them and why?
Let's see, it's going to be a long-winded one. Well, if this is a person that I know in my life, right?
Yep.
Let's see here. It's gonna be,
you know what? Let's change the question, actually.
Yeah, because...
Let's actually change the question here, because I just got something in that I'm thinking of, and I want to get your answer on this. There's been a lot said about, obviously, the way that things are going in the country and the way that the president has gone about doing everything. And you're not a huge political person, right?
Well, I know my politics.
Huge, I know, but you've gotten more into it over the last year or so. I think we all have. I think Trump's piqued our interest across the world.
Yeah.
it's really not about him. It's really related more towards how you feel he's handled everything that's happening around him in the world of sports, as far as the kneeling with the anthem. Do you feel that what Colin Kaepernick and what these athletes are doing is for the right purpose and for a good reason, or do you feel that, like what Trump said, this should be fired, it's not exactly the best route to go, it's offensive to the military? What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, I'm wondering because I've given a speech on it. I have my own personal opinions on it. To keep it away from being super political, I kind of want to just know more, like, I want you to dive more into, like, do you agree with what's going on and what's being done?
Well, for one thing, it has the original, like, Trump, like, misconstrued it, and, like, the original purpose was not, like, had nothing to do with the military, so, yeah, that just got all out of whack, and, I feel that, like, I didn't really know how to react to it, like, when I first heard about it, but,
I don't think any of us did, even myself. I honestly didn't think that it was the right thing to do, but...
Yeah, but they are taking, like, they're taking a stand, and they're just standing, it's just kind of, like, it's kind of harmless, kind of harmless. I mean, like, they're not, like, they're not offending any military people. I think Donald Trump's just trying to, like, to provoke fear, and, yeah, I just feel like they're just firmly standing up for what they believe in.
Okay, I thank you for your opinion. I actually share that as well. I think that what's being done is all for the right reasons, and I think it's unfortunate that it has been misconstrued by many, but I do, however, feel that everyone's entitled to feel how they will. I want to end this with kind of a controversial topic, but I think it's important to get this out there. You and Aaron, obviously, have had your differences in the past, and as of recently, you guys even aren't talking anymore. This isn't about Aaron. I really just want to get your thoughts on... You guys started talking in creative writing class of senior year, obviously, and everything, went well. A year in, you guys kind of started to fall apart, and then you and him were really good friends, and as, earlier this year now, not so much. So when you look back on your friendship with Aaron and everything that happened and how it ended and what was said and what was done, what do you take away from that whole entire experience? And, yeah.
Well, what I can take away from that experience is that, well, for one thing, appearances, personality, it can all be deceiving, because you never know deep down inside
now,
that.
You say that. That's interesting. What do you mean when you say that they can be deceiving?
Well, Aaron, like...
As far as this friendship, obviously.
Yeah, when I first met him, like, Aaron just seemed like a really nice guy. Like, he was, like, supportive, and, like, he was, I don't know, like, believed in me, because originally, like, you didn't really see much in me, but Aaron did, and that's why you originally stuck around by me.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I did not like you at first, and I think Aaron knows this, and I just want to clarify this before I get back into this. I am not bringing this up to start any drama, obviously. This is my podcast, all right? This is my podcast, like I said. This is just something I feel that can be talked about. And it's not to create problems. It's not meant to be controversial. It is what it is. It's just us talking about exactly what happened, and I want to get your opinion on it. And like I was saying, I do think that it's crazy that me and you were sitting here not doing this podcast, because if you would have told me this about a year and a half ago or even 2 years ago when we started talking, I was not a big fan of yours. I don't think you were a big fan of mine, and it's just weird how things can change. But like you were saying...
yeah, like, when I said appearances can be deceiving, it was because, like, Aaron, he seemed like a really nice guy, really, believed in, in the friendship and stuff, but then, like, then when the fake accounts rolled around, and, like, when I really, like, thought about it and realized that it was all him, like, that's just, like, made me think, differently about him.
Now, do you believe all of the fake accounts, and when you say these fake accounts, you're referring to...
Like Charlie LeBron and like Jacob Collinsworth and
you had
stuff.
And what experiences did you exactly have with these fake accounts that you feel is worthy of bringing up, that you feel affected your life and
Well,
things like that? And what exactly happened in relation to these accounts, as you say?
well, the first account I experienced was the Charlie LeBron one. And Aaron, oddly, he was like building it up, like building anticipation around it, if you will, because he was like messaging the group chat saying, "Oh, Charlie LeBron, he's talking about your movie." Oh, da, da, da. Like, it seemed like that was like the story of the week for him. This person's talking about the movie, yada yada yada. And then I remember it's weird because like one day, like after lunch, he sends me a friend request and then messages me, and like it's all happening during global foods class. And yeah, this like little at the time I thought that this kid's probably like a freshman or something, and I thought that this person was real. But then after much time, I discovered that it was actually Aaron the whole time.
That's interesting. So, is there anything you'd want to say to Aaron? Well, you got him right here, in case he hears this, or is there anything you want to say as far as, the overall thoughts of how you feel about him or what happened, or I guess, is there any hard feelings between you and him from your end at this point? Are you just not interested in talking to him? Maybe you are, maybe you're not.
Well,
where do you stand?
Hearing how he's improving and stuff, I really hope for the better of him, because I really hope that he does change and get stop with the fake accounts and shit and become a better person.
So, no hard feelings, or where are we?
No hard feelings.
All right. I mean, that's all I got for you. Is there anything else you want to say while I have you on the podcast? I want to thank you for coming on, and anything else that you want to say before we wrap this up?
Well, this was great being on a podcast. Podcasts are great, and I feel that yours will really take off.
Yeah, man, you can only hope, But thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time with hopefully another episode soon. All right.